Put it right over her shoulder, and then I can just look at her like this.
So the first question is, how would you characterize the main issues in this campaign?
The main issues in this campaign are real simple. The main issues in this campaign are jobs, jobs, and jobs. In all seriousness, we've talked before about it a little bit, but people literally are 30 days from the street, from getting kicked out of their homes. They've lost a job, or they know somebody's lost a job. And until we get this straight, where people can be gainfully employed, we're not going to right the economy. And you know, we're blessed more than others in Virginia because even though the nation's at 9-point-something% unemployment, Virginia sits at 6.2. Maybe the numbers creeped up to 6.3. Folks need jobs. That's what they're focused on. That's what they need. You know, that's what they're looking for. So that's the main issue in this campaign, I can tell you.
Okay. Describe for me your qualifications for being state senator.
First and foremost, I've been a public servant my entire life. I've served as what I call a servant leader. As a U.S. Army Ranger, as a captain in the military, you learn how to lead men into battle, and if the need comes, sometimes ask them to sacrifice their life for that. That's a pretty critical decision-making process. On law enforcement, it's the same thing. You respond to calls sometimes, and you're having to make split-second decisions or analyze complex problems and find solutions very, very quickly. Those analytical skills have served me very well. I hold a master's degree in public administration. I think that by having that degree by itself has allowed me the opportunity to really understand how government works, as far as inside government and bureaus and different ways that government functions as a whole, their budgeting process, all those sorts of things. So, and last but not least, I've been a small business owner for the last 10 years. And I think once you own a small business, you really get to see how government responds and how it treats you as somebody who's an employer. And so the qualifications as a small business owner, I think, are probably, out of all the qualifications that I have to sit in the Senate, I think that's probably the foremost qualification that gives me what I call the reasonable, prudent perspective, in the sense that when I look at a piece of legislation that comes across my desk to read and to vote on, I'm going to look and see three things. Does it fit the bill for three specific things as a business owner? Stability, flexibility, and predictability. Those three things right there, I look at as a business owner. Because each year I sit down with my wife, she's a small business owner as well, and we do a business plan. And we plan for each quarter and our growth and what our production output should be. And we have to put away estimated quarterly taxes and figure out payroll and all those sorts of things that go along with owning a business. What we don't have control over is what government puts on our shoulders. Local governments talk about unfunded mandates. As a small business owner, I talk about what the government regulations do to me as a small business owner, or tax implications and those sorts of things. And so, and each time I have to address that, I either have to hire somebody to be able to navigate those waters for me, like an accountant, a CPA, or somebody to help me figure out what the new tax regulations are. But in talking about those three things, stability, flexibility, and predictability, stability, that means we need an economic environment that's conducive to business, that's set up. Predictability, I have to be able to predict out what's going to change and what's not going to change, so I can have the last thing, which is flexibility, in order to change to meet those demands that are placed upon me.
Describe for me some differences between yourself and your opponent, and what makes you, or what would make you, a better senator than him.
Well, the first thing I think of is what we were just talking about. One is, I'm the only small business owner in this race. I mean, I make payroll each and every month. Every 2 weeks, I have to make payroll. I'm the last person that gets paid in my office. My team gets paid first. They get paid everything they're due. They get paid their commissions, all those things. So their families are taken care of. I'm the last guy to get paid. So first and foremost, that's just straight out there. I'm the only guy who's really done it. I don't talk the talk, and I actually walk the walk. The second thing is, I have a field of knowledge that I don't think my opponent has ever had, and that's to serve in uniform. That's a great sacrifice. As somebody that has done it and been there, and I've seen the burden that families carry, I understand because I've been one of them in the military, and then especially in law enforcement. As a police officer, you're typically 9 out of 10 times responding to an incident that is probably at the height of its excitement or energy, such as a domestic violence case, and you have to be able to go in and defuse a situation without using force and try to resolve a matter as quickly as possible. And those are some skills that serve you well, and I think they probably served me pretty well in the General Assembly, to be able to sit down and negotiate with some folks about issues or those sorts of things. So, and the other thing is that I'm a graduate of the Sorensen Institute. That's a nonpartisan course at UVA that allows you the opportunity to work with Republicans, Democrats, and Independents on solutions and problems within Virginia, but get a 30,000-foot view of Virginia politics. And what it does is it allows you, it's a year-long program. You go 1 week in a month for 11 months, I think it is. And you have an in-depth look at Virginia politics, and you have access to decision makers and CEOs and titans of industry, but you get to really see truly what somebody that has a bill from Southwest Virginia, how that bill might affect transportation in Northern Virginia and some of the disparities that go on. But it gives you an awareness and experience that you probably otherwise wouldn't get unless you were immersed in that type of course. So.
Okay, and one last question. Describe for me or talk to me about the tone and the tenor of the campaign so far.
I think our tone is fantastic. I really do. I think we have a positive message. I think it's resonating with voters right now. We have made 82,000 phone calls. We're over 14,000 doors knocked. We know where the folks in the 17th are. And I'll take it all the way back to your first question. They want to know what I'm going to do to help them create the environment that's conducive to job growth. Am I going to go out and push the 17th district to get companies to come here to help them succeed? That's still the number one issue. It remains to be that issue. That hasn't changed as far as we go. I mean, you know, I don't know what my opponent's really doing. I try not to dwell on what my opponent's doing or anything else. We're running our campaign. We're controlling our tempo of the campaign and our message and what we're trying to get out. And ours is one of that I'm here to serve. First and foremost, serve those folks in the 17th. I have a servant's heart. I'm ready to go to work. And, you know, this election is really going to be decided on one thing, and that's who the folks in the 17th believe is going to go down there to Richmond and serve them in their best interest. Flat and simple. Who do they trust? They're going to either say, do I want a 28-year career politician in there, or do I want a guy who's shown that he's been a public servant, that he's served his armed forces? I've served in local government as a police officer. I'm a small business owner. You know, I've done all these things, and I'm not a politician. So I think, you know, our message is clear. We're all about bringing back jobs to the 17th. That's our main focus.